Welcome back to the shop here at Basin Motorsports. I'm Canaan. Today I'm going to give you kind of my personal review on the Bitchin Stitchin class in Salt Lake City put on by Phil Cato. So if you've never heard of the Bitchin Stitchin classes that Phil Cato and his team put on, I've got a link down in the description. You can jump over there and check out all the stuff that they teach. They teach seat building, door panels, consoles, and a few other things. Now for this class I went down, this is the seat building class where they teach you how to build basically a seat bottom from scratch. Now, if you go over to the link down in the description, you'll see that they have a 2-day class. Now, this class is pretty intensive. I'll say that up front. It is not for those that are faint at heart and wanting to get their hands dirty and get in there. Now, on day one, you start out in a large classroom with your classmates and instructors. Now, for this class, Phil Cato was kind of our lead instructor. His cousin Wesley Cato out of Louisiana was also there as kind of like the helper, as you say, but I found them both to be equally awesome at teaching and helping describe through frustrations how to get to the end. So here's a quick look at the classroom setup. Now, it is a big wide open area. They have all their band saws, they have all the foam. You can see in here that the tables are set up, so there's 2 people that sit per table. Everybody gets their own foam, their own pen, pad, marker, everything you need for the class. This is a show up. They do everything, provide you all the tools and everything you need to make this happen. And it is a kind of an all-intensive, all-inclusive class. They go through with a basic introduction of everybody there, and you kind of get to tell where you're from and your experience level. Now, the class there itself, I would say, was pretty basic on those that had never sewn or never sat down in a sewing machine, all the way to other shop owners there. So there's a very good mix of students and their abilities to be able to build seats or even sew. Didn't really matter because at the end of the class, everybody had sewn their heart's content and they had built a complete seat by the end of the class. Now, as you go through the day of the class, on day 1, you start with cutting all your foam. You start with gluing the foam pieces together. Now, this is for the main seat itself, the base. You then move into putting on the bolsters on the side. So the main seat in these videos is blue. The bolsters are in a white foam. And these are different densities to make up the what they call is the Cato seat. But these things are awesome to sit in. I'll just say that up front. I'm very excited that he was able to share in the class how to build them and the densities he prefers, because that means now I can build something in that ballpark. So by the end of the day, as you go through, you start building, you start cutting, shaping, sanding, and he teaches, or they teach you how to do all of this with the proper tools, the proper techniques. Now, by the end of the day, we had gotten through to the basic foam shape itself. We hadn't really worked on most of the upholstery side of it yet. That went to day 2. Now, into day 2, you go through the pieces here. You start cutting out your shapes. You start learning how to do templates their way, and you also cut out the material. Now, once you go from there, you put on the sewing foam on the back, which is pretty standard for the upholstery for Automotive and other places. And then it gets time when you have all your pieces together, it's time to sew. Now, this is where a lot of the time challenge comes in because we had 23 students, only 2 sewing machines that were really meant for students to use. So some of them kind of blasted through it because they had sewn before, and the other ones that had never sewn took a little longer time. Now, you're thinking, oh, I got to sit around. Actually, you don't, because Cato at his shop has so much other stuff going on. You can take the time to learn more about your fellow classmates. They have the opportunity to kind of instruct and teach through there, and you can also check out some of the other equipment they have in there. They opened up the whole shop so you can kind of see how they build door panels. They do their 3D printing, their resin printing. There were other people there that were just hanging out for the class that had taken the class before, or they helped with other classes that Cato teaches. So I will say, don't be concerned that you're going to have just too much time on your hands to sit around, because it's never a dull moment in the class. 2 days of intensive class, and by the end, what you get is a seat. So at the end, this is what you come back with. Now we used kind of an acidic green or a lime green leather from Moore & Giles. Randy was there from Moore & Giles to help kind of teach us about leather, which was another added bonus. Kind of teach us the features and of it. And you can see kind of the profile as I spin it around here, all the way coming through. And a really nice touch was the base bottom here. You can kind of see that it says Cato's Custom Upholstery routed in there. That was pretty awesome. Now, of course, the main function of the class is to learn about building seats. I have 2 pages of notes that I wrote down from that of things to follow up on. Some of the cool things, because I drove, I actually brought home foam samples. So this is the blue that comes out for the base, and then this is the more dense white for the bolsters. And because I drove, they said take as much foam as you want, so I brought literally a big garbage bag of foam samples home with me to practice with, to use for repairs, whatever else. Now, I've already contacted my local supplier here up in Oregon where I am, and they sent me over samples similar to this, so I have direct comparisons of kind of the Cato foam as he would build it and what I can get locally. So that is a huge advantage for me here. Now, of course, some of the other things you learn in that class, other than the foam densities you should use, you get to use all the proper tools. So if you don't have them, you know what to buy when you get back to be able to do this. You learn the skills of how to build the seat. You get to know about leather on a more intricate level than I ever knew about. And I'm happy now that I have this information from Moore & Giles. You get to make contacts of all the people that are in your class throughout the country. And I can tell you, in the week since I've been back, I can't even count how many emails back and forth of us sharing ideas, sharing information, where to get tools, etc. It is an invaluable course that I think if you're interested in this is a good buy for a weekend. Like I said, it's all inclusive for the class. It's one price. You can either fly in, drive in, however you want. The shop he is currently in is about 10 minutes north of the airport. It's very easy. I stayed in a hotel that was about 3 miles away. They had plenty of food around. So after I got back from class, I think we left at like 8-ish every night. And I just went back to the hotel, crashed, came back, got some food. So if you're thinking about doing this class, I've got a link down in the description there to 2 different places. One is the Bitchin Stitchin official website, which has just the seat building console and door panels. Now, Cato does teach other things that are not like exclusively upholstery. He does some CAD CAM and 3D printing. And I also put there the Cato101.com. Now, you can go to both of those, check them both out. You can see the differences between them. But like I say, I learned so much out of this. I came back with more confidence. I had already sewn. I do have my own machine. If you've seen the channel, I have a machine here at NC from NC Carpet and Binding. So I had some experience with this of building seats, etc., but I just didn't have the how to do patterns kind of like in the expert level way of upholstery, how to do the foam, how to shape the foam. And I just brought back so much information that I can't even really share in an hour of talking about it. There's so much there that I learned. So if you're interested, jump down to those, get signed up. You will not be disappointed. It is an exhausting, intensive 2 days for seat building, but you will get so much out of it. You probably won't even remember half of it until you get home and kind of let your mind process it out. So that's it this time. Definitely a good buy. I'm definitely glad I went to that, and I'll probably be going to more of their classes in the future. We'll see you next time.